Most people are losing the war for financial freedom before they even sit down at their desks. They wake up reactive, stay reactive all day, and go to bed wondering why nothing is changing. They consume strategies, buy courses, and follow every productivity guru they can find. But the problem was never a lack of information. The problem is they have no anchor at the start of the day and no mirror at the end of it. 2 moments. That is all that separates the people who build wealth from the people who stay stuck. 2 moments most people completely ignore. 1. The morning blueprint. Before the world wakes up, before your brain gets hijacked by cheap dopamine and other people's noise, you must sit down and map out your execution. This is not about writing a long, overwhelming to-do list of minor tasks. A massive list is just a hiding place for people who want to feel busy while avoiding the real work. True morning planning is a high-stakes filtering process. You need to identify the single most challenging, highest leverage task that will directly impact your revenue. It is the one thing that once completed makes everything else easier or unnecessary. It might be writing that sales script, pitching that high-ticket client, or shipping the core feature of your next product. When you define this target in the morning, you are anchoring your brain. You are giving your neural prediction system a clear, singular objective. You are intentionally building a tension between your current reality and your daily goal. This creates the cognitive dissonance necessary to drive deep work. If you do not define your critical objective by sunrise, your day will be hijacked by the trivial. You will spend hours on work that feels productive but generates nothing. Comfort mimics productivity perfectly. The morning plan is your shield against that delusion. Here's what most people do instead. They wake up, grab their phone, and immediately let the algorithm decide what their brain focuses on. They scroll, react, and allow other people's priorities to dictate their energy. By the time they finally sit down to do something meaningful, their focus is already fractured and their willpower is already depleted. They are not losing because they lack talent or ambition. They're losing because they handed over the most valuable hours of their day to distraction before they even realized what was happening. The morning blueprint changes that equation entirely. It is the decision to face the most uncomfortable task first, when your energy is pristine and your cognitive resources are at their peak. When you sit down knowing exactly what you need to accomplish, your brain does not waste cycles on deliberation. It executes. You are not asking yourself what to do next. You have already made that decision. That single act of pre-commitment is what separates a productive day from a performative one. It is the difference between moving toward your income goals and simply feeling like you are. Do not underestimate how rare this discipline actually is. Most people go through their entire careers without ever experiencing a single fully intentional workday. They confuse motion with progress. They measure success by how tired they feel at the end of the day, rather than what they actually built. The morning blueprint does not let you hide behind that illusion. It holds you accountable from the moment you open your eyes. 2. The evening audit. A great morning plan is half the equation, and frankly, it's the easy half. Anyone can write down a big goal over a warm cup of coffee. The real separation occurs when the sun goes down. Before you close your eyes, you must face the mirror and backtest your day. You must look at your morning plan and brutally analyze your performance. Did you actually execute the core leverage task, or did you blink when the friction got too intense? Did you allow a distraction to pull you away, or did you stay in the room until the work was shipped? This is not about self-flagellation or feeling guilty. It's about data gathering. You need a feedback loop that is completely unclouded by emotion. Most people fail to grow because they skip this step entirely. They allow their failures to fade into the dark, promising themselves that tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow is never different if you don't measure today. The evening audit forces you to look at the undeniable evidence of your actions. If you planned to spend 2 hours on deep sales calls, but spent that time reorganizing files instead, the audit will expose that lie. It forces you to confront the reality that you are prioritizing comfort over income. When you run this audit every single night, you create a powerful psychological mechanism. Your brain hates being exposed. It detests the cognitive dissonance of seeing a gap between what you said you would do and what you actually achieved. That discomfort is not a punishment, it's information. It tells you exactly where your discipline is breaking down and exactly which distractions have the most power over you. Without that data, you're flying blind. You're making the same mistakes on a loop and calling it bad luck. Over time, something remarkable happens. To avoid the discomfort of a failed evening audit, your brain will begin forcing you to execute during the day. You're essentially hacking your own ego to drive discipline. The audit stops being a judgment session and starts being a scoreboard. And once you start treating your daily performance as something measurable, you start treating it as something improvable. That's the moment your income trajectory shifts, not because you found a new strategy, because you finally started holding yourself to a standard. The most dangerous thing about skipping the evening audit is not the wasted day, it's the pattern it creates. Every night you let yourself off the hook, you're training your brain to accept mediocrity as the default. You're reinforcing the belief that the gap between your goals and your actions is normal and acceptable. It's not. It's the gap that is keeping you broke. When you master this rhythm, your relationship with money changes entirely. You stop looking at wealth as a distant, abstract dream and start seeing it as a game of daily metrics. You are no longer guessing or hoping, you are executing and measuring. You are building lived, undeniable proof that you can handle the high-stakes demands of the market. The fear of failure begins to lose its grip because you have a daily system that closes every loop before you sleep. The confidence to charge higher prices, launch bigger projects, and command real authority in your industry doesn't arrive before the work. It comes after you have proven to yourself, night after night, that you can be trusted with your own time. That trust is the foundation everything else is built on. So drop the complex strategies and the endless tracking apps. Strip everything down to what actually moves the needle. Financial freedom begins with 2 daily rituals, one in the morning to aim, one at night to account. Repeat them until discipline becomes identity and execution becomes instinct.